Below came a white horse, gleaming in the shadows, running swiftly. In dusk, its headstall flickered and flashed as if it were studded with gems like living stars. The rider's cloak streamed behind them, and his hood was thrown back. His golden hair flowed shimmering in the wind of his speed. To Frodo it appeared that a white light was shining through the form in a remnant of the rider as through a thin veil. Left no doubt in their hearts the rider was of elven folk. No others that dealt in the wide world had heard voices so fair to hear. But there seemed to be a note of haste or fear in his call, and they saw he was now speaking quickly and urgently to Strider. Soon Strider beckoned to them, and the hobbits left the bushes and hurried down to the road. "This is Glorfindel, dwells in the house of Elrond," said Strider. And the leader, who was now half across the ford, stood up menacing in his stirrups and raised up his hand. Frodo was stricken dumb. He felt his tongue cleave to his mouth and his heart laboring. His sword broke and fell out of his shaking hand. The elf horse reared and snorted. The foremost of the black horse at a foot upon the shore. At the moment, there came a roaring and rushing, a noise of loud waters rolling many stones. Dimly, Frodo saw the river below him rise, and down along its course there came a plumed cavalry of waves. White flames seemed to Frodo to flicker to their crest, and he half fancied he saw amid the water white riders upon white horses with frothing manes. The three riders there were still in the midst of the ford, were overwhelmed. They disappeared, buried suddenly under angry foam. Those they were behind drew back in dismay. With his last failing senses, Frodo heard cries, and it seemed to him he saw beyond the riders that hesitated on the shore a shining figure of white light, and behind it ran small shadowy forms of waving flames that flared red in the gray mist that was falling over the world. The black horses were filled with madness, and leaping forward in terror, they bore their riders in the rushing flood. Their piercing cries were drowned in the roaring of the river as it carried them away. And then Frodo felt himself falling, and the roaring in confusion seemed to rise and engulf him together with his enemies. He heard and saw no more.